Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. We're so happy that you're here, whether you're watching us live or listening to us on a podcast later on, or watching a live taping of the show. We're really, really glad that you decided to be in on our audience. We couldn't be happier.
Got a few hellos here.
We do. Joe Conchel says, hi, Rob and Joan.
Hey,
Hello, Joe, back from the land of the flu. Glad you're feeling better. George Dismukes, I'm here. Nadine is on the couch speaking about the flu. Sorry, Nadine, we've been praying for you. In earshot, we're ready to go. Marjorie Deering says, hi, all. Hi, Marjorie. We're so glad you're here. CW says, howdy,
hey,
Rob
CW.
and Joan. Hi, CW.
Taking
really
time
glad
off
that you're
from
here.
his writing.
Yeah.
Don't forget the deadline, CW.
Our deadline is
Ours
coming
is
up.
coming too. Don't worry.
Yeah, like it's like, a sword hanging over my head.
I want to remind everybody this Thursday, tomorrow night, 9:00 Eastern Time, on www.wdjy.com. That's 99.1 FM in Atlanta if you're listening there, or you can go onto that website I just gave you and listen to Orlando Sanchez episode of our show.
Nice.
And the more people that we get tuning in, the better it is for the statistics, for them to keep us going. So tune it in, even if you just tune it in and turn it down or something, but tune in. That'd be nice. Anyway, Orlando's great, so you'll enjoy it, I'm sure.
Hold on a second. Paul Hollis says, hi, Rob and John.
Hey, Paul.
Hi, Paul. Glad you're here.
Welcome aboard.
We're always happy to see you.
Saturday, remind everybody about Episode Rewind. That's at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time right here where you're watching. And then next Wednesday...
Who's on Episode Rewind?
I don't know. Let me see.
You forgot?
No. Yes, I did. I did forget, actually.
Yes.
Paul Rushworth Brown.
Oh.
How could I forget that?
I don't know.
Okay. That's this Saturday, the 13th of January. Okay. And then next Wednesday, we'll have the 2024 reveal part 1 for Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles. And that will feature C.W. Hawes, Linda Pirtle, and R.C. and J.P. Carter. We're going to be on there too. So we're going to talk about the first 3 books for 2024. And I believe they'll be book 21, 22, and 23. Right?
Okay.
Also want to remind or tell everybody we've added Twitter for the broadcast, and we're wanting to add Instagram, but that means we have to take one of them off. So what we're planning on doing is possibly taking 2 of the Facebook pages, Indie Book Source and Carter Novels, take those off of the broadcast and just have it be Meet the Author podcast and WLFE DB Radio Network for the Facebook broadcast points.
So if you watch on either one of those Facebook pages,
move over to the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be on the next posting anyway, where you can watch. Other than that, we've got new releases. Joseph Carabas just released a paranormal psychological thriller called Search. He's been on our show before. This is a follow-up to the Shaman. Okay, so Search by Joseph Carabas.
It's a nice cover.
Check that out on Amazon. And then also Killer Enigma, Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles. That'll be on sale the 13th to the 16th for $2.99 on Amazon. And what you're going to be doing is joining JJ and Joe as they return to Magnolia Bluff to check on friends and recapture that small town anonymity. Past, present, and future collide in a perfect storm to disrupt their plans. So don't miss it. Pick up a copy. Also want to let everybody know about the new Facebook page, San Leon Bay Area Authors Facebook page. Join the all authors should join that page and participate. Start discussions.
Not just the San
Ask
Leon
questions.
Bay
It's not
authors.
just for San Leon authors, it's for any indie published author.
Any author.
Any author. Okay, we'll throw it out there. We'll make it any human being. Readers can join. Anybody can join.
No, any author.
Okay, it's mainly for authors.
Authors.
But anyway, George Dismukes is the host of that page, by the way. All right. Oof, I'm exhausted. Time to go home?
No.
No. Okay, I guess we better bring John in, right?
I can't wait.
Okay, everybody, here is Mr. John Russell. Hi, John.
Hi, John.
Hi, Rob and Joan. It's so nice to be back with you guys again. Thank you for having me.
It's nice for you to be back.
Good to have you back.
Thank you. Thank you.
I've been waiting for this, so I'm happy.
So, what's new with you? I mean, you had 2 books, now you have 3, right?
Now I have 3. I've got the 3rd book out. It came out in July of last year, and the title is 20 Ways to Increase Your Psychic Abilities. And it's I'm getting feedback from readers all over the world, and the greatest feedback I'm getting about this book is we're using the techniques and they work.
Well, that is good.
Yeah, so I wrote
That's
this
helpful,
book.
right?
Yeah, it's a good thing. I wrote this book over the years. I've been a professional psychic for over 50 years now. And I've done psychic readings for a worldwide clientele. I've read for clients in over 40 countries, which just blows my mind. I mean, I'm just immensely grateful. But
hard to imagine, isn't it?
It's just, yeah, it's mind blowing. But one of the great things that happened over the years, over the decades, was that my clients would always ask me, John, what can I do in between readings, in between your advice and your counsel and your input? What can I do to increase my psychic abilities? How can I get better connected with the other side and receive the guidance that I need? Are there tools and techniques that I can use to put into practice that will actually make my life better? And so for each client over the years, for their specific situation, I would give them a technique and tell them how to use it. And I know these techniques worked because the other side taught them directly to me. And then I use them in my own life. They work for me. I use them repeatedly, and they always worked. So I said, okay, these are things that I can give to my clients. It'll work for my clients, and it'll help them. So as the years went by, it finally dawned on me while I'm writing books, let's put these techniques into a book so that everybody can have access to this, not just my clients, but everybody can have access to these techniques. And in writing the book, my main concern was, let's get rid of all the jargon. Let's get rid of the supposed need for special tools or implements or hard to find, spices or objects or whatever. And let's get rid of the idea that techniques only work if you do them in the nude under a full moon on a Wednesday night at midnight. Let's get rid of all that, because that's all the stuff that's out there. And my clients were always so frustrated. They were like, do I have to go and cut a willow branch and dip it in water and get brick dust and do this and do that? No, you don't. And so in writing this book, I simplified every technique in there. In 20 ways, there's one technique per chapter. So there's 20 chapters. The book starts off with psychometry. And what I do for every technique, I describe, I tell you what the technique is, describe it, define it, and then I tell you how to begin to learn it. I take you by the hand, walk you through it step by step. You don't have to have any experience. You don't have to have any prior knowledge. And so I walk you step by step how to learn the technique, and then how to practice it, get good at it, and then the real world application of that. So I do that for 20 different techniques in the book. I've got psychometry, I've got candle magic, I've got dream interpretation, how to learn to use the tarot, scrying, like crystal ball gazing, how to use the dreaded Ouija board, And spoiler alert, it's safe. It's okay to do so.
If you open and close right.
Well, no, you don't even really have to do that, but that's all in the book. And how to do an old-fashioned, old school seance, how to conduct that if you want to. So there's a ton of things in the book. And like I say, I'm getting this feedback from readers all over the world, and they're saying, John, it works. It does me good.
Joe Conjal said, so looking forward to your book.
Oh,
And
thank
then I
you.
think you answered this. He says, Joe Conjal also says, hi, John. Will the techniques work for someone with no psychic abilities?
Well, Joe, we all have psychic abilities.
That
Now,
is
they
right.
may be less than someone else. The
Yeah.
analogy that I always give is that we all have musical abilities to a degree.
Right.
But I may take music lessons for 2 years and barely be able to play chopsticks well.
Right.
And somebody else may take music lessons for 2 years. They may be on the concert stage. So
Yeah.
we all have different degrees of ability, but we
Right.
all have inherent ability to some degree. So we
Yes.
do all have psychic abilities. And Joe, I wrote this book for people that say, I don't have any psychic abilities, or I don't think I have any psychic abilities. Well, you do. And the great thing about this is the book's good for a complete beginner. The book is good for people that have been around or experienced, know some things. They're going to find some new techniques, some food for thought. But for the complete beginner, for the person that doesn't think they have any psychic abilities, they're going to be able to take this book and find out, oh, wait, yes, I do have psychic abilities. And you're going to be able to begin to develop those. And most importantly, you're going to be able to direct those abilities into practical applications in your life to make your life better.
C.W. Hawes says, I'm looking forward to this book.
Oh,
And
thank
then
you.
he said, this is the book for me.
Yeah, you're going to enjoy it. You're going to get I had fun writing the book because, like I say, these are techniques that the other side taught me, and I know they work. I've used them, and I know they work. And I've given them to my clients over the years, and they reported back, hey, this has worked for me. I mean, I've got stuff in there, how to attract a mate. You know, this is something that so many people worry about, so many people struggle with. And I've got an entire chapter in there on how to attract a mate, things on healing. Um, the dream interpretation chapter is one of people's favorites. I had somebody the other day tell me, I've got to get this book for the dream interpretation chapter alone. And again,
I wanted it for the psychometry.
Psychometry, yeah.
Because I just suck at psychometry.
And this will help you. This will help you. And I tell everybody, I say, look, there's no the reader feedback has been there's no difficult to understand jargon. You've taken complex subjects and you've simplified them. You made them easy to understand. You made them easy to learn, and it's understandable. We get it. So that was my whole purpose in writing the book in this way. I wanted to write it to say, look, these techniques are real. They will work for you. You don't have to be a special person. You don't have to think that you have special gifts or abilities. Just sit down and just do it, and it'll work for you.
Agree with you that, some people naturally can draw. They're naturally gifted.
Exactly.
They don't even need to take lessons. We can all learn to draw, but we're not all going to be Picasso, right?
Exactly. And the thing of it is, even if you do have some natural talent in an area, you can refine and train and make that talent better by practicing it, by developing it. And so even if someone's got some good psychic abilities, they can take this book and enhance it and make it better.
He says, do you speak to remote viewing in the book?
A little bit. It's really, remote viewing is just clairvoyance, which, any good psychic or medium has always done. So that's there. And there's lots of things you can study more in depth, but you can get this book. It's going to equip you to do what you need to do. And then if you want to go further, if you want to get more complex, if you want to go more in depth, that's out there. You can do that. But you can take this book as it is, and it's going to meet a wide range of needs. and you're not going to have to get anything else if you don't want to. You don't have to buy anything else. You don't have to study anything else. This is going to equip you to be able to do very practical things in your life with these tools and techniques. And one of the greatest things I like about this, you're not going to have to spend any money. I think unless you want to buy like a crystal ball, which you can get for 30 or 40 bucks. Other than that, I think that's the most expensive thing in the book that I recommend. The only other thing I think of that you have to buy is like a box of nails and some lemons. And there's an old technique, an old spell technique that I've refined and that utilizes lemons and nails. And that's in the book in detail and how to use that. And people have told me I've used this has worked. So everything in there, you're not going to have to spend a ton of money. Most of the things you can do, you can start right now. They're available in your home, or you may not even need anything. Like psychometry, you don't have to buy anything. You don't have to go find anything. It's just, it's all right there. It's available to you right now. So that's another thing I loved about writing this book, is that people don't have to go out and spend a lot of money. They don't have to research things, find special things, buy special things. They don't have to look for difficult to find items. You can just sit right down and start in your home right now when you get the book.
The lemons and nails, you got to just make sure you put the right thing in your iced tea.
There you go.
Not nails.
Not the nails.
Not the nails. And no nails on your fish. Lemon on the fish.
There you go.
So the funny thing for me is I'm really good at remote viewing.
Mm-hmm.
And you would think that I would be good at psychometry too.
Right.
But I'm not.
Yeah. And I hope this book will change it for you. I hope the particular way that I've taught this and explained this in the book, I hope that'll do the trick for you. It has for most people. And I think that, one of the things I've observed over the years, and this applies to spiritual matters, psychic, paranormal matters, is like if you're learning a particular skill, like you're learning to play the guitar, for example, the teacher that you have may not be the right teacher for you, may not be the best teacher for you. And you may just not get it from them. And you may have to shop around till finally you find that person that sits down and goes, oh, okay, well, what you need to understand about what you're trying to learn about music and the guitar is this. And you go, I get it. I get it.
Make the connection. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
and
got
so
a couple of. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say we have a couple of more questions.
Okay, great.
Before we take our first break, Joe Conjal said, is this book on audio? Your voice would be terrific on audio. I agree 100%.
Oh, bless your heart. Thank you. I don't have the book on audio yet. Now, the great thing is, if you get the book in the Kindle version as well, and then you've got the Alexa app on your phone, or if you have the Echo device in your home with Alexa, you can ask Alexa to read the book to you, and she will.
It's true. Marjorie Deering said, has law enforcement moved any closer to using people gifted in these areas to help solve criminal and missing person cases?
Unfortunately, they haven't. And my experience with law enforcement, I was asked by the FBI to help them in a case. I was asked by a family to contact the FBI on their behalf and help them in a case. And it's usually been very, very frustrating. I was contacted one time when I was living up in New York. What was it? Storyhouse Productions, I think it was. Superfine Storyhouse. Anyways, maybe it'll come to me here in a minute. But they were the production company behind Psychic Detectives. And they called me. Yeah, they called me and they said, have you done work with law enforcement? And I told them, I said, I've been, contacted by some people to give my input, psychic input to the FBI and so on and so forth. But I hadn't done any formal work with, police departments and so on. And they said, if we could get someone in the sheriff's department or police department that would be willing to work with you, would you be willing to do that for the show? And I said, oh, absolutely. I'd be happy. And we kept talking. And I said, I got to ask you something, though. I said, I've seen Psychic Detectives. I said, I watch it regularly. And I said, there are, and here we go again to specialities and niches and talents and abilities. And I think some people have that natural inherent ability to do that type of thing. And that's their kind of calling. And maybe if you have a psychic gift, you can train in that direction. But I think there are people that just kind of naturally do that. So I told her, I said, I've watched the show. I said, you have really great psychics that in some cases have solved, these murders. And I said, why don't you just keep using them? Why are you looking for fresh meat, so to speak?
Yeah.
And she said, well, it's funny. She said, you would think that the police departments would be just falling all over themselves to contact these psychics and to use these psychics. And she said, it's really odd because most police departments look at the psychic as being, coming with the baggage of being a fraud or a con artist, the whole baggage that goes with the psychic realm. And so that kind of puts their reputation in a bad light to be associated with them. And then the other thing is that when the psychic comes in and solves the case, the cops feel like they're stepping on their toes and making them look bad. Well, we didn't do it. This goofball psychic comes in. Darn it, the visions are right. They were correct. It makes us look bad, and I don't want to work with them again.
Make them look pretty darn good, actually.
So,
we need to take our first break. So everybody stand by.
We'll be right back.
When John comes back, he's going to read from his first book, right? Writing with Ghosts. So hang on just a couple of minutes here, folks. Don't go away.
Many secrets are hidden within the darkness of the jungle. Now comes part 4 in the Jaguar series by retired Hollywood scriptwriter George Noory. In this saga, Brandon, Andrea, and Naja, the Black Jaguar, go deep into the Mato Grosso jungle on a mission to rescue 2 kidnapped children. During their journey, they encounter many dangers, including Yanomami Indians, bent on revenge for the murder of one of their warriors.
Return of the Jaguar is book 4 in the Jaguar series, starting with 2 faces of the Jaguar, The Lost City, and the Jaguar's Quest. All 4 are available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other bookseller websites worldwide. Return of the Jaguar is a must-read.
The clock is ticking. Can Gracie uncover the truth?
Philip Pliant is the wealthy opportunist plastics dealer and CEO of Pliant Industries. He's also a master thief, creating a pervasive threat to the manufacturing infrastructure in the Caribbean islands markets. With the cartel as his stealth client, the naive city leaders have been seduced, enabling the production of more than 3-dimensional building materials.
The expected profits are monstrous.
Is the art group, now led by Gracie and the family heirs, strong enough to win against this predator?
Can JJ's cats act on the root cause analysis in time?
Will Gracie be able to squash Pliant and the cartels?
Gracie never considered their lives would hang in the balance. The clock is ticking. 5, 4, 3.
It's every parent's worst nightmare. Police officer Madison Jackson awakes to discover her baby kidnapped from her crib. Was it revenge for someone she arrested, or something far more sinister? Madison's estranged husband is incarcerated in Supermax. As the second in command of a deadly Mexican cartel, did he issue the order to abduct their daughter? Bye, Baby, Bye, from author Kelly Marshall. Get your copy today.
And we're back.
We're back.
And Joy York says, a little late. Well,
Hi, Joy.
glad you're here, Joy. I
Better.
hope you're feeling better. She had COVID. So we've had so many people down with COVID or flu. And
Oh, it seems like everybody's been sick, I swear.
I know that's the same with us, with our family and our friends. It's been like constant.
So you're going to read from Writing with Ghosts, Angels, and the Spirits of the Dead. That's a very interesting title. I've always loved that. And I picture you riding down the road by yourself with
on his
a couple of
motorcycle.
ghost motorcycles next to you with ghosts on them.
Yeah,
That's what I picture.
exactly. Yeah, that's my first book. And all my books are available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Apple Books. So yeah, I'm going to read an excerpt now from my first book, Writing with Ghost Angels and the Spirits of the Dead. And this is just an excerpt from the chapter titled Catch a Falling Star. And there's some backstory to this, but we don't have enough time to read it all. So I'll just get to the meat of it. And this occurred when I was a young boy, and we were up visiting some friends of ours. So I'll begin the reading now. After a pleasant but uneventful visit, which lasts several hours, we finally bid our friends farewell just as it's reaching one of the darkest stages of twilight outside. Mom will definitely need to turn on the car's headlights in order to see to drive. We say our goodbyes to our friend while standing on their front porch, and they watch us walk down their sidewalk and get into our car. They wave a final goodbye before shutting their front door. And it's then that I see it. Mom has started the car's engine when, falling very slowly, almost in slow motion, a perfectly symmetrical 5-pointed star, yes, a pentagram, falls from the sky in a gentle arc right in front of us. And its trajectory is carrying it into that bone-dry vacant lot next to our friend's house. Mom, look, I shout, somewhat unnecessarily, of course, for my mother is transfixed. Her eyes are locked onto the object as it falls. It has a pretty yellow, phosphorescent or luminescent glow as if lit from within, and it trails a short tail behind it like a comet might. The tail dissolves as the star falls. The star is as large as the side of a house and seems to be no more than several inches to a foot thick, and it's a flat object rather than being rounded or bulbous. What's so bizarre is how slowly it falls. It's a striking, beautiful sight, but it terrifies my mother, who begins to literally shout for me to lock all the car doors and to roll up all the windows. My first thought is that we don't have to worry about this paranormal phenomenon because we're going to suffocate in the car from the heat. My mother, who has lived her life exuding a false bravado, is frightened, more frightened than I have ever seen her be before. Me, on the other hand, I want to get out and go investigate. I don't know if I've always had an uncommon bravery or an uncommon stupidity. I asked my mother about exiting the car in order to get an even closer look at the mysterious object, but she absolutely forbids it. She puts the car into gear and starts to drive off, but I stop her with a query. Mom, it's bone dry in that field, in that vacant lot. The vacant lot covered a good half block, maybe more. If that star falls in there, won't it set it on fire? And won't our friends be in danger? And shouldn't we wait to see what happens? So if the star does cause a fire, we can run back up to our friend's house and use their phone to call the fire department. My mother reluctantly agrees that there is indeed some merit to my suggestion, although complying necessitates that we remain in proximity to this unknown and, to her, extremely frightening object. We watch, both of us transfixed, as the star slowly falls into the midst of the vacant lot, falling down among the trees into the dry grasses and weeds, trailing its tail as it goes. The star gives off such a bright glow that we can see its light shining through the trees. We continue to watch, and the star's glow begins to dim more and more until gradually the glow winks out completely and darkness resumes control of the night. There is no fire, no aftermath of any kind that we can notice, and my mother drives home much faster than usual tonight as I pepper her with questions that she can never answer. After we're miles away from our friend's house and the mystifying star, she finally allows me to roll the windows down so that we can get some relief from the stifling heat that's built up in the car. A falling star. I think I may have made a wish that night.
That's excellent. Did the lot go on fire?
It didn't. No, it just, the light winked out. The light just kind of went in upon itself and faded out. And that was it. It was just one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
Joe Conchel says the original Ghost Rider.
Yeah, there you go. That's it was funny because that first book, oh, bless your heart, Joe. Thank you.
He says I could listen to you read all evening.
That first book came about because I've been a biker since I was about 15. And that first book came about because my TV producer, when I shot a TV pilot for the History Channel, my TV producer had wanted me to come up with some just small snippets of my experiences that we could put on a blog that we could talk to other producers about when we were trying to develop a show. And I began to write down some of these snippets of the experiences I was having. And for all the years I've ridden a motorcycle, I began to have some experiences, paranormal experiences, that were specific to riding on the bike. And they were just so over the top and so incredible that I realized that I had to take those and expand them into the full story of what I'd experienced, what had occurred, what I learned from it, and then group those together in this book and kind of leave that as my legacy. And that was my first book. And then from there, fortunately, and I love to write, I went on to write the second book, A Knock in the Attic, and now the third book, 20 Ways to Increase Your Psychic Abilities. I've got a fourth book that's finished and will be coming out this year, and it's titled The Crying Tree and the Magic Rock, and these are more true paranormal stories. And then I've got a fifth book that I'm about halfway through. That's The Cansack Ghost, and really odd title and a really unusual story within that book. And then after that, there are more books in the pipeline, so there's more coming.
Was the star, the falling star that you saw, did you already have psychic abilities, or was that the beginning of your psychic abilities?
No, that was several years after my psychic abilities had started. My psychic abilities started when I was about 5.5. And this occurred when I wasn't a teenager, but I was getting on up there in years. So probably maybe around 10, 12, somewhere around there.
Pretty old, yeah.
Yeah, pretty
how
old.
Did you're getting real old. How did your psychic abilities manifest to begin with?
Those manifested to begin with. There was an old black ghost that came to my house while I was asleep. I was sound asleep, woke up suddenly completely wide awake, no grogginess, no drowsiness in the middle of the night. And I was trying to figure out what woke me up. And I raised up in bed on my elbows and was just kind of looking around my bedroom. And my parents had left a nightlight on down the hall so I could see to get up and go to the bathroom at night. And the nightlights glow around the door frame, the doorway of one of the doors in the hall. There was this old black man, this elderly black gentleman, peering around the corner at me. And he was as solid as you or I. He wasn't translucent. He wasn't transparent. And I absolutely knew I was wide awake. My family, obviously, we're white, and we didn't have anyone black living with us. So my assumption as a 5-year-old child is that someone's broken into the house.
Oh, sure.
So I screamed bloody murder. And when I screamed, the elderly black gentleman, the reason I knew he was elderly, he had close-cropped white hair and a white mustache. And he walked around the door frame into the hallway, started walking into the bedroom toward me. And I can tell you what he had on. He had on a red plaid flannel shirt. He had on khaki pants, black shoes, black belt, every bit as solid as you or I. And I screamed bloody murder again. And when I did, the lights started coming on. My parents started to come running. And then he began to vanish. He got translucent, and then he got transparent, and then he just disappeared. And my parents came in, and they were like trying to console me, and I was crying and screaming. I said, there's somebody in this house, even though I'd just seen him disappear. And my fright was so real that my father actually went through the house, checked all the doors and windows, looked under the beds, looked in the closets, and of course, no one was there in the flesh. And then it dawned on me, I've just seen my first ghost. And it's like, okay.
I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
1, was it a really old house? And number 2, where was the house? Where did you live?
It wasn't that old, and it was in West Texas where I grew up.
West Texas, okay.
Yeah. And so after this, Yeah, Joe, that's a good question. Have I ever thought of writing a fiction book?
Let me
Maybe a
read it
psychic
for
detective character.
let
Yeah,
me read it for our guests that
yeah,
are
yeah. Do that. Do that.
not that are just doing a podcast and not watching the video. It says, John, have you ever thought of writing a fiction book, maybe a psychic detective character solving paranormal mysteries?
Interestingly enough, I have a crime fiction novel that I've started work on that's going to have a paranormal component to it. So we'll see how that goes. But
Marjorie Deering has a question. John, do you personally find it easier to see into the past or the future?
both are equally easy for me. I don't have difficulty with either one.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, we're done with our questions, but I did want to know how, when you first started seeing things. And
Yeah.
did your parents tell you there's no such thing as ghosts?
Well, no, actually, my mother was a believer. My father was kind of a closet believer. After this experience occurred, the paranormal manifestations began to occur in my life, and they occurred on the physical realm, physical manifestations, and they were witnessed by my parents and others. And being 5 years old, I couldn't articulate this. I couldn't explain it this way, but intuitively, I knew that the old black ghost had come to open up this portal to these manifestations, to these experiences, and that it was going to somehow, someday, be important in my life and in the lives of others. So I cherished that, and I knew it was going to be important. And then when the awareness of my psychic gift came, that was a little later, right before I was 6. I was still 5.5, almost 6. And I was out in the backyard playing with a toy, and this car pulled into the driveway, and it was people I didn't know. And I ran the house. I said, Mom, Dad, somebody's pulling the driveway. I don't know who these people are. And they said, okay, we'll come look. So they came out and I said, oh, these are friends of ours. I said, oh, okay. And I'd never met the people. So they got out and they were standing on the sidewalk talking with my parents, and I was goofing around with my toy. And I walked over to them and I just stood there looking up at them. And there was a lull in the conversation. And I said, you folks have just been on vacation. And I said, you drove that car that you drove here that's sitting in the driveway, and you have 2 kids. They're not with you today, but you have 2 kids, and you took them with you on vacation. And you went to this hotel that was painted this color and had this many stories. Out front were these trees that looked like this and that were regularly spaced. And in back was the pool area, and it was painted this color. And the woman's husband was had this funny lopsided grin on his face, and he was looking at her and looking at my parents like, what is going on? And I will never forget, the woman was literally bug-eyed. I mean, literally bug-eyed. And her jaw was agape. And she stared at me, honest to God, like I had cobras coming out of my ears. And she looked at my parents and she goes, how the hell could he possibly know this? And my parents were taken aback, and they were like, oh, well, kids and their imaginations. She goes, no. This goes beyond kids and their imaginations. How the hell could he possibly know this? And my parents were kind of like, well, what do you mean? They really didn't understand what was going on. And she said, that's what we came to tell you today about our vacation that we just took. And we drove that car, and we took our 2 kids, and the hotel we stayed at is exactly like John described. How the hell is that possible? How the hell could he possibly know this? And my parents were like, go play, John. And I was like, okay, nice to meet you folks. And off I went. And it scared them so bad they never came and visited my parents again. And that's when I discovered that I had this ability to see into people's lives. And from there, I began to discover that I could accurately predict people's futures, that I could see into their pasts. And so I said, well, let's see what I can do with this. How can I make it better? How can I make it more accurate? How can I develop it? So I began to study everything on the planet that I could find. I practiced, I studied, I worked on it, I developed. By the age of 11, I was doing paranormal investigations. By around the age of 15, I was doing psychic readings for friends and family. And by the age of 18, I started reading professionally. And here I am over 50 years later.
There you go. We need to take our last break. When we come back, we're going to tell everybody how to reach you and also have our book giveaway, everybody. So don't go away. Hang on. It's a good one.
It's a special book giveaway.
It is.
You won't believe it.
You bet.
Yeah.
Paradise, My Prison. Charlie Flint awakens from a deep sleep and finds himself alone on a tropical beach surrounded by a palm tree jungle and exotic animals. He cannot remember who he is or anything about his life. First, he must find food and build shelter and protect himself from hidden dangers. As his memory gradually returns, it reveals what a very flawed person he is. A man who made too many mistakes, made too many enemies. The implications of the truth are staggering. How did Charlie get there? And will he save himself? Paradise, My Prison is the riveting new suspense thriller from retired Hollywood scriptwriter George Dismukes. Paradise, My Prison by George Dismukes is available in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats worldwide.
Step into the captivating world of skullduggery, where a family of isolated peasant copyholders finds themselves thrust into a web of danger that threatens their very existence. Set against the tumultuous backdrop of the English Reformation, this meticulously researched historical mystery unfolds with a cast of both lovable and despicable characters, immersing you in a fully realized world that's both utterly believable and fantastically unbelievable. Author Paul Rushworth Brown weaves a spellbinding narrative that transports you to Yorkshire, England, in the 16th and 17th centuries, offering an authentic and gritty portrayal of peasant life. The pages come alive with vivid descriptions, crafting an atmosphere that pulls you deeper into a story of crime, murder, and suspense like no other.
Hi, I'm Paul Rushworth Brown, author of Skullduggery, Red Winter Journey, and Demon Courage, just recently released. I hope you enjoy Skullduggery, the second edition. Cheers.
It's 1919, and Eric Laska returns from the war in Europe. Two new enemies await him in the small, coal-mining town he calls home. One is a threat to his relationship with Rebecca, the love of his life. The other, a bloodthirsty beast, is stalking the mining town residents. The townspeople suspect Eric of one of the killings. An old man and Rebecca's 11-year-old sister have seen the beast, but only Eric believes their story. To protect the town and clear his name, he's forced to prove the werewolf exists. Available on Amazon. The Horror Within by Marjorie Swift Doring.
And we're back. All right, let's give you the websites where you can reach John. I'm going to spell John's name, but I think you all know how to spell everything else. It's JohnRussell author.com. So johnrussellauthor.com. And also you can reach him at johnrussell.net.
Right.
One is for his books and the other is for your psychic.
For the psychic work, yeah. If people are interested in getting a reading or finding out more about my psychic work, go to johnrussell.net. Just for the books, go to johnrussellauthor.com, and all the books are available there. They've got links you can click on, buy them at Amazon, or you can click on the book's cover, and it'll take you to that book's specific page. And it's got my book's endorsements, reviews, awards, and then links there where you can buy at Amazon, Barnes & Noble Books, Million, or Apple Books.
Yeah, you've won a couple of awards, right?
I've won a lot of awards now. I'm very privileged and very honored to have won these awards. Just went down in November, just went down to Miami and won a silver medal for A Knock in the Attic for the Reader's Favorite Book Awards. Went down there and stayed at the Hilton, beautiful Hilton Hotel where they have the awards, and got the award on stage, got that recognition. So a lot of fun. But yeah, there's been a lot of awards for each book now, and very excited, very honored, and just really appreciative of the recognition.
We have a couple of comments, a couple more. George Dismukes said, I used to live with an evil spirit. Her name was Deborah. That was wife number 3, if I remember correctly.
Either wife or ex-wife or ex-girlfriend, yeah.
Ex-wife. He's with Nadine now, number 5, and she's the best. He saved the best for last.
That's great. That's
Robert White says, good morning all from down under.
Good morning from Australia.
Good morning, Robert. It's evening here, as you know. How are you doing? I hope you're well. Good to hear from you. You'll have to rewatch this so you can hear everything John had to say.
And I wanted to mention also that John's social media links are also on his book, probably on both of your websites, right?
Right.
And how to reach you on social media.
Facebook and LinkedIn and everywhere.
All right. Shall we do the book giveaway now?
We shall.
All right.
Book giveaway tonight. The first 3 people to email johnrussellpsychic@hotmail.com will win an autographed paperback copy of one of John's books. And that's U.S. only, folks, U.S. only. So if you live across the border in Mexico or Canada, forget about it. You can't enter. U.S. only.
You can enter, but you won't
can
get
enter,
a book.
but you won't get a book.
Right.
You might have to come pick it up or something. I don't know.
No, you won't get a book.
Anyway,
yeah, if people will, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take by timestamp the emails that come in to johnrussellpsychic@hotmail.com. I'm going to take by timestamp the first 3 that I get, and those people, they need to send me obviously their mailing address, how they want the book to be signed, because I will autograph the book. I'll personalize it and autograph it for them, and then I will choose which book I'm going to give. I'm going to give 1 copy of each of my books. And so each person will get a different book. So the first 3, and then I'll choose what I'm going to send out. And I'll kind of try and use my psychic abilities to say, this book will be appropriate for this person. They'll really need this or appreciate this. So, but anyway, the first 3 people to email johnrussellpsychic@hotmail.com, you're going to get a personalized and autographed paperback copy of one of my books.
Excellent.
That's awesome.
Robert says he's doing okay. Had a video doctor's meeting, or I would have been here earlier. Well, I hope that he had his leg amputated earlier.
Oh.
At the end of last year. Oh, good. He's getting the stump fitted for a prosthetic holder this afternoon.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
Prayers and positive energy.
Amen.
That way. Yeah.
Amen.
Right.
That'll be an easy transition for you, Robert. He's a farmer in Australia, so he needs to be able to get around.
Yeah.
You're welcome. It's our pleasure. Believe me. Well, so that's pretty exciting about the 3 books. And I think it's really great. I know the 3 books, each book will go to exactly who they should go to, the right title to the right person.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
We just have a few minutes.
Oh my
The
goodness.
Crying Tree and the Magic Rock, that comes out in July?
This year.
Sometime this year. We don't know yet.
Sometime this year. Yeah. Hopefully the early part of this year, but definitely this year.
This
and
is the
then,
early.
The Kansak Ghost, that will come out either late this year or early in 2025.
Okay.
Now, that's not about a Canadian bag lady, the Kansak.
Not about a Canadian bag lady.
No. Just want to clear that up. Make sure you know.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. That's a very interesting little story. If you can give us a little rundown of who the Kansak Ghost is, or will they give it away?
No, that's okay. There was we had when my second wife and I lived in an apartment building, there was a retired gentleman that used to come by and dig through the dumpsters and collect cans. And so the landlord told everybody, said, look, start saving your cans for this guy, make it easy for him. So we put up a plastic sack in our apartment, and we would save all our cans for the guy to pick up. And there was a spirit that would hit the bottom of this plastic bag and rattle the cans, and it would hit the bag so hard that if you were sitting there and had a sight line to the bag where you could see it, the bag would literally jump and the cans would shake and rattle in it. That's how hard the spirit would hit the bag. So it's part of a longer story, but that's the title of the book, The Kansak Ghost.
It's a good title.
It is a good title. It's very interesting.
And myself, I like The Crying Tree and the Magic Rock a lot.
Oh, that's going to be a really, really good one. It's, the first 2 books, Riding with Ghosts and then Knock in the Attic, those are all paranormal experiences, true paranormal experiences that have happened to me, what I've learned from them, what I convey to my readers. They're entertaining as well as informative. Obviously, the third book, 20 Ways to Increase Your Psychic Abilities, people are saying this is like a textbook. You know, I studied this, and my wife calls it a psychic toolbox. She said you go into it and pull out the tool you need for what you're experiencing at the time. And then the fourth and the fifth books, these are going to go back to the storytelling aspect, all true paranormal events. But these are things that I've never written about before. Some of them going back to my childhood. Some of them are catching up previous events that I've talked about in the first two books, that things have happened that have kind of updated those and brought those into the now. And so they're going to be a lot of fun as well.
Robert said, lucky she didn't hit it hard enough to split the bag.
Yeah, really.
True that. That is so true.
All right.
Well, you know how you were saying how everybody has, natural abilities leaning more towards one thing than another. I also think that when you're, we're part of a paranormal team that investigates. And we've noticed through the years that some people get better results using different tools. Other people do really well with that tool, and maybe you don't. And
exactly.
I found that really fascinating.
Yeah. And what I've tried to do in my third book, that, 20 Ways to Increase Your Psychic Abilities, what I've tried to do there is to make it so simple and so widely broadcast in its accessibility that just about anybody can take it and use it. And I think that virtually anybody is going to find something in that book that appeals to them and that works for them, if not several of the techniques. So
or they're drawn to. Yeah,
absolutely.
What are you drawn
It's been really thrilling to write that book, really thrilling to get the feedback. It's been a lot of fun. And I think people are enjoying it. It's working for them.
Robert says, I tend to use my own powers rather than use a gadget to get information from the other side. Yeah. Yep. It's good though, Robert. We also like to do that, and our team has quite a few sensitives or intuitives or psychic, however you want to say it, on the team, and but we like to get video and audio to be able to show people what it is that we're picking up psychically.
A few gadgets.
We have quite a few gadgets, but
that's like my TV producer used to tell me. He said, "John, get some EVP," and I said, "Well, I communicate with spirits in real time,
right?
And we hold two-way, fully formed conversations."
Right.
And it may go on for paragraphs and paragraphs.
Right.
And he said, yeah, but the viewer isn't privy to that. But if you take an EVP, the viewer hears it and goes, oh, holy cow, look at that, the ghost spoke.
Right.
Yeah.
When you say, is there anyone here that would like to speak with us? And you can clearly hear a voice say, I would like to.
Yeah.
Then
that gives the seeker something to, or the viewer, the listener, whatever, it gives them something to glom on to.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's been fun. It's been a joy. It's always a pleasure to talk to you guys.
Cut loose here, but I don't like this new format of having to close down.
We love being on the radio station. Don't misunderstand.
Yeah.
But it does.
It goes fast. Yeah, it goes fast.
It's like boom, boom, boom.
Joe has
So we're going to move you over. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's see. Stay right where we're at till we come back to you.
No problem.
Joe Conjul says, great show tonight as always. Very informative and interesting. Thanks, John. And of course, Robin Joan.
You're welcome. Robert says, yes, obviously the video recorders, but the type that get the spirits to use their energies to manipulate the device, it takes some time as well.
Yeah.
Oh, and that is no joke. You've got it, but that's why you like to have something that's generating energy so that they don't get exhausted and that they can pull up on that energy. Marjorie Deering says, thanks for another wonderful episode.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. It's been really fun for us. And Robert White says, indeed, yeah, they do. They get exhausted. CW says, fab show. Thanks, John, Rob, and Joan.
And you are welcome, sir.
Fascinating show. Paul Hollis says, thanks, Rob, Joan, and John. I know, it's so much fun doing these shows.
Fun.
It
Yes.
brings together our two interests, paranormal and authors. Robert White says, thanks for the show. We'll definitely watch the replay. Yeah, yes, Robert, I know you, and I know you're going to love it.
There you go. All right. Well, I guess.
One more comment. Joe Conjal. Oh, any info on that certain British magazine? Yeah, we should be published in the spring, and we're going to be starting doing more British authors in the future.
Right. So I guess time is not on our side. So until next time.
It's on our side. Yes, it is.
Until next time.
Until next time. That's all, folks. Sorry.
Right. Whoa.
Live every Wednesday, your Voice of Indie hosts Beam Weeks and Stephen Gees welcome authors, musicians, publishing industry pros, artists, and assorted creative guests for an exciting interactive hour. Call in during the show or post questions and comments on Twitter for responses in real time. Meet your favorite indie creators, learn inside tips, network, and promote your work. The link for each week's show is pinned on Twitter atop @VoiceOfIndie. And you can receive the link every Wednesday morning in your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter at freshinkgroup.com. Check out Voice of Indie every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio and catch hundreds of episodes archived everywhere from our websites to our YouTube channel and Spotify.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-DV.com.